155-mile-an-hour sustained winds. So we have more coverage of Hurricane Ian as it makes its way onshore. Thanks for joining us. I'm Brian Sanders.
And I'm Nicole Brady. We will get out to Florida in just a few minutes here. First, let's get over to Lisa Hidalgo with a look at our own forecast right here.
And wow, what a difference, right? You've got a lot of sunshine out there to deal with here early this morning. We're in, at this point, the 50s for the most part. There's a few spots still in the 40s. Denver, 46, Littleton, 48, Erie and Firestone currently 47, and just above freezing there near Fraser and Berthoud Pass. So a little cool in the mountains, but early on we're going to see those temperatures climb, and we should be by about 10 o'clock in the upper 60s, another 10 degrees by noon, and then we'll see low to mid 80s for highs today. We have Denver at right around 83. You'll find some upper 70s near Castle Rock, mid 80s near Fort Collins and Greeley, and 60s and 70s out west. Evergreen this afternoon, 73. Skies are pretty clear for us here. We're going to see dry conditions across northeastern Colorado with a few storms and showers to the southwest. A better chance of picking up some rain here later in the week. By Friday, we're going to be tracking a cold front, a cool down for the weekend. So this coming weekend is going to feel a lot more fall-like than it did last weekend. I'll show you the Super 7 Day in just a few minutes.
We have some pretty significant delays coming out of the south side of Monument here on the north side of Colorado Springs. This is northbound I-25. Unfortunately, the camera is now facing the traffic coming at us. The right lanes are blocked with a truck fire. There's still some smoke coming up there, but this is the delay down there. We also have delays still, as you take a look at the map here this morning, on that south side of town. It's all from a wreck that's now cleared at C-470, so it is starting to ease up from Lincoln Avenue north, but still all this traffic that was coming from Castle Rock, Castle Pines, trying to get into the Denver Tech Center is all backed up, and we're still backed up with this wreck that's still being cleaned up here in the left lane on 470, the westbound side, over by 285. So still about a half an hour there, still about a half an hour in or out of the Denver Tech Center. It's still real busy in a lot of these spots, including on I-70 trying to get through Pena Boulevard and then across that 270 drive as well. So it's a lot of stop and go traffic. Unfortunately, a lot of earlier problems set us off in a bad way, and we're still feeling the effects all around town.
Clearly, this is a very powerful major hurricane that's going to have major impacts, both on impact in southwest Florida, but then as it continues to work through the state, it is going to have major impacts in terms of wind, in terms of rain, in terms of flooding.
This morning, millions of Floridians are under evacuation orders. Major Hurricane Ian is closing in on the Gulf Coast. We're taking a live look here at Collier County, which is near Naples, Florida. You can just see those winds there whipping the palm trees around, and we are already seeing damage from storm surge as well.
Also overnight, Ian strengthened. It is a Category 4 near Category 5 storm. The track also shifted south. It's forecast to make landfall near Fort Myers. Ivan Rodriguez is near Port Charlotte, where they're bracing for a direct hit.
Hurricane Ian has now reached a speed of about 155 miles per hour. That's near becoming a Category 5 storm. We heard last night from Punta Gorda's law enforcement saying emergency services will now be suspended. That includes things like the police department, fire department, and EMS. That same message echoed throughout other law enforcement agencies throughout the state of Florida. Advice now for residents is to hunker down and wait out the storm.
Your time to evacuate is coming to an end.
An urgent warning from Florida's governor, imploring residents to get to higher ground as Hurricane Ian barrels toward the state.
Hey, you're in a mandatory evacuation.
More than 2.5 million people are under evacuation orders along the southwest coast, but officials are telling all Florida residents to brace for impact.
There's also potential for flash flooding and river flooding with 10 to 20 inches across central and northeast Florida.
Ian caused a nationwide blackout after rolling through Cuba Tuesday, and thousands of utility workers are standing by across Florida to help deal with potential power outages.
We also have line workers and line men and line women coming from 27 other states. They're positioned at 24 different locations throughout the state.
Rains from the outer bands of the hurricane are already whipping southern Florida, and at least 2 possible tornadoes caused damage Tuesday night. Schools, supermarkets, and theme parks across the state have announced closures as the window for people to board up and head out is coming to a close.
We cannot send first responders into harm's way because you decided not to leave.
we're learning that more than 100,000 people are now without power across Florida. One of the biggest concerns here where we are both rain totals and storm surge. Rain totals could vary anywhere between 6 to 8 inches. Storm surge levels now can be up to 16 feet. In Punta Gorda, I'm Ivan Rodriguez.
Yeah, we've seen a range of conditions. The outer bands of the storm already have led to tornadoes overnight. Some of the inland areas of Florida, like Orlando, are even being impacted. Of course, so huge, massive storm system here.
And while they may see periodic breaks, it won't last long. The hurricane is only 55 miles offshore to the west of Naples. Denver 7's Jessica Crawford has been following some of the newest video coming into our newsroom. Jessica.
Yes, and there is a lot of damage from high winds in particular. We've seen downed trees and power lines, but apparently planes are being impacted as well. This is Pembroke Pines. There, Hurricane Ian's high winds toppled and tossed small planes that were there at the airport. So you can see them kind of scattered and out of the formation that they normally would be in. So no telling how much money and damage was done there at that airport. Now, here's some video of water being pulled out of Peace River before the arrival of Hurricane Ian in Punta Gorda, Florida. Mike Dice, who shared this on Twitter, says this is unfortunately an indicator of the storm surge that is about to occur there very soon. Plus, look closely at this video here. So if you see little flashes of gray, the storm is projected to do some major damage on land, but it appears that the dolphins, they seem to be making the most of it out there in the ocean. You can see them jumping up from the water in the higher than usual surf. If you look really closely, there they are. Elise Shingari posted that on Twitter. And of course, this is a lot of time where a lot of people are going to be needing help. You spoke a little bit about evacuations earlier. Some of the places that people are evacuating to are shelters. Governor Ron DeSantis, Florida's governor, tweeted that there are 176 shelters that are open. And then there are also 50 special needs shelters that are open there for people who are trying to get away from the storm and to find a safe place to lay their head for a few days.
All right, Jessica Crawford, thanks so much for checking those updates for us.
Meanwhile, back here at home, Littleton police are trying to figure out who left a pipe bomb outside of a grocery store. Denver 7's Veronica Acosta joins us live outside the Safeway at Mineral Ave and South Broadway, where investigators are still trying to figure out who left it, but scary to think about what might have happened had police not arrived.
Really scary. I mean, this all happened just after noon on a Tuesday. There were people inside of the Safeway here behind me shopping for groceries, and this whole area is surrounded by a lot of other little stores, so you can only imagine how many people were in those. Definitely a scary situation when they all started seeing those law enforcement officers, even bomb squad, show up here and start investigating what was going on with that pipe bomb. Listen to what a local business owner told us when she saw all of that unfolding.
In my mind, I kept going back and forth thinking, okay, so all of these people are here, the bomb squad, everybody's here, but yet I'm still allowed to stand right here next to this tape. So it was kind of one of those things going back and forth in my brain, like what is actually going on? So
the pipe bomb was discovered by someone who was just on site doing their job. They were doing an inspection right behind the Safeway. The good news is the Littleton Police Department, alongside the Arapahoe County Sheriff's Office bomb squad, they were able to disable that pipe bomb. Though a law enforcement source did tell ABC News this pipe bomb was, quote, a lot more sophisticated than we typically see. And because the bomb squad was able to disable that pipe bomb, Littleton's crime lab ended up taking it with them. They're going to use that as part of their investigation. And that really is the next part, figuring out not only who made that pipe bomb, but then who dropped it off right behind this seemingly busy, during the day, what is seemingly busy grocery store. So we'll keep you updated on what comes of that. Anyone with information is being urged to get in contact with Littleton Police. You can shoot them an email over at policetips@littletongov.org. In Littleton, I'm Veronica Acosta, Denver 7.
Thanks, Veronica. September is Suicide Prevention Awareness Month, a time to focus on mental health, and teenagers have struggled so much since the pandemic began. They're also facing increased social pressures and the constant bombardment of social media. So according to the National Alliance on Mental Illness, suicide is the second leading cause of death for people 15 to 24 years old. In fact, almost 20% of American high school students have reported having serious thoughts about suicide. 9% have had an attempt to take their own lives. These are numbers we continue to see increasing.
I think the most important thing to recognize is I think mental health disorders are no different than anything else like asthma, ear infections. It's all treatable, and people don't have to suffer, and they can get better. And it's not something you need to feel it's hopeless and never going to change.
Now, there is support if you need to make changes with resources like the National 988 line and the Say It Brave on Campus program, which is a 4-part series leading mental health advocates, organizations, and educators have come up with. That's underway right now at the Pathlight Mood and Anxiety Center. There are virtual and in-person options. It's a partnership with the Madison Holleran Foundation, which was founded by Madison Holleran's sister Carla, who died by suicide in 2014. Say It Brave on Campus runs till September 30th. It will also be available after a live session ends to help provide support and guidance for students and their family and friends.
Coming up, meet the local cancer patient turning her journey into a way to help others be happy just being a kid and focused on their recovery instead.
And Colorado is near the top of the nation when it comes to a drop in home prices. See how much value has been lost in the last few months.